Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inner Secrets Revealed, Kabbalah class with Dr. Gil Tovan. I am Michael Ray, and I will be your host for this evening. And tonight, we are going to be diving deep into some of the mysteries of reality. And we're going to start talking about quantum transformation. We're going to start talking about different methods of healing, and we're going to be discussing a lot of, continuation of what we have discussed in the past. So without further ado, everybody, I would like to introduce Dr. Gil Tovan. Dr. Gil.
Yes, good evening to you all. After the glitch of the if it's very important, there'll always be a glitch. So that's good. That means that it's important. Because there's only work against resistance. So we're going to started discussing, and it's part of the understanding of the tree of life, the Etz Chaim. The title is Quantum Transformation, from the word quantum physics, quantum field, and divine purpose. We're going to be able to look at the end of today, next time, at the Etz Chaim, at the tree of life, in 3D. Not like we used to till today in 2Ds, but in 3D. Not only are we going to look at it from looking at face value, but we're going to look at it from the top and see new things that we have never thought possible before, including the 5 elements. So let me start with that, and we'll have to take today and next time as one package deal, but obviously next time I will revise and review the bits that we did today that will be pertinent for next time. So, understand. Many cultures and ancient traditions are based on the 5 elements, right? Earth, water, fire, and air. And the 5th element is not metal, as we know in the Eastern culture, but rather the ether or the void. Again, earth, water, fire, and air. And the 5th element is the ether or the void. Now, as science has advanced with time, people have scoffed and laughed at those elements, saying they are out of fashion, they're old-fashioned, and they're not relevant anymore. But science has advanced over the ages, and we understand again and again how well we know from Kabbalistic sources as well as Eastern culture that these 5 elements really do exist, as well in the Greek philosophy. They were very, very adamant that those 5 elements are the core of existence and are within the Etz Chaim, the tree of life. So we're going to understand it slowly. So I'm going to speak slowly, and I'm going to revise a few things. This is not difficult. Just we have to pay attention, get on board, and welcome to this flight number 788. So for many, many years, the last few hundred years, the understanding, the conceptualization of reality was according to Newtonian understanding, which means we're not going to discuss science. We're going to discuss you as human beings, which means we are each individuals and we are separate in each other. In other words, you are different than me. We are each individuals, and each one runs their own life, and there's cause and effect. If you push me, I get pushed and I fall down. And the same applies to nature. There's cause and effect. Very simple, deterministic kind of world. But then came along in the last few decades, and especially the last 2 decades, quantum physics. And this really opened to us the whole world of Kabbalah that we've been waiting for over 2,000 years, because for 2,000 years, people understood the world to be really Newtonian, which means we're individuals, we're separate, there's only material, the world of spirit is an illusion, or it's out there and we need to grasp it, but it's not within our reach. So quantum physics came and provided us a proof that all these particles and semi-particles that we have are made up of energy and are part of the energy field. In other words, there are no anymore just particles, but everything, including us, including our spirit, including the atoms, the quarks, the semi-particles that we have, electrons, protons, and smaller than that, right? Fermions, as we call them today, they are all really one part of an energy field, and everything is energy. So since everything is energy, we can talk a different language. That really is mind-boggling evolution, which means that all these fields of energy vibrate at different frequencies to produce different things. In other words, the reason why a table is different than a chair, that wood is different than a metal, is just different frequency, different vibration. The reason why you are different than me, we really are all energy, but we do share between us the same energy. Nevertheless, the amount of energy, the amount of frequency, the kind of vibration that each one of us has inside them, and the recipe that each one of us makes produces different people within us. So all it is that at the essence, we are all energy. Your spirit is energy, your soul is energy, your body is an energetic form, and all it is different frequencies that we are seeing with our own physical limited eyes, different issues. At the lower state of the energy field, right, is zero energy. Zero energy is called the void. So suddenly science came back to understand, yes, we do have 5 elements that govern all of nature, all of energy, which is again, and all of human nature: earth, water, fire, air, and the void. Where do we find that void? We find that void called the 0 point at the center, at the crux of the tree of life, at the center of the atom, excuse me, at the center of creation. We do see the world in 3D. That's why we have 2 eyes, to be able to see depth. But at higher levels, scientists reveal to us that there's 11th dimension, 12th dimension of energy, where energy vibrates very much like music. So at the crux, at the core of everything, is not just energy. Behind that energy, there's different music. The difference between different atoms, carbon, oxygen, hydrogen, they play different notes. It's all about that. And one of the greatest Kabbalists the last few generations, about 300 years ago, his name was the Vilna Gaon, he quotes and he says that nobody can really understand the depth and the secrets of Kabbalah unless they understand the roots of music. And that seemingly seems to be a very, the statement, it makes us wonder, what did he mean? But now that we understand quantum physics 300 years later, yes, at the core of everything, there is different musical notes. This is science, which is incredible. So our universe is really a cosmic symphony orchestra, very much like what was found in ancient mysticism. In the temple in Jerusalem, they used to play music of the Levites, which is very famous and well known. In Psalms, from Psalm 120 to Psalms 135, there's 15 different Psalms discussing the different processes, different steps, or that the Levites were walking up the steps in the temple, and each one has a different vibration. Each one has got a different frequency till you reach the highest level, which is incredible. This was also discussed by Pythagoras, he used lots of Kabbalah, lots of numbers, and he's the first one that cracked that code of trying to understand human nature according to different geometries, according to different numbers. Now, this is all well said and done, and we're going to summarize it soon. But recently, science has found that, this is a lecture in Kabbalah, but I'm giving to you some kind of a flavor and taste from quantum physics, that people that will think this is theoretical, this is magical, this is mysticism. So today science matches and lines up with Kabbalah and say, wow, this is absolutely the truth. So science has found that our universe is made up of 3 elements: visible matter, dark matter, and dark energy. Again, science has found that all we were taught in school, all we were taught in university, all the matter that we see, all the different atomic table that we know of and we all learned in high school, this only makes up 4.9% of reality. 4.9% of reality. This is when you see me, my body, when you see your home and you see the chairs and you see your car, see reality, you're only looking at 4.9% of reality. This is science. Where's the rest? Where's the rest of 96%? This is all called dark matter and dark energy. Now, what does it mean? Where is that? This is all in potential. Imagine that you're making a cake. You bought flour, you bought eggs, you bought honey, you bought cinnamon, you bought water. Thank you, Mike. Very good. And all of this are just the raw material. Now, if you try to taste it, well, it's tasteless. It's terrible. It's horrible. You need to put it all together in the right combination, which I'm not a chef, and then to bake it and to cook it and to do many things to it before it's yummy and very tasteful. The 4.9% we see is the baked up cake after somebody concocted everything together. But the rest of the nearly 96% is all the raw materials that are in potential, that are hiding, that it's such a high energy and such a high frequency that we as people, science of today, cannot as yet detect it because of the incredibly high vibration and high frequency. And again, behind all this is the musical strings. So to summarize, the Kabbalistic tree of life is a real model of reality, which is shocking and incredible and mind-boggling, handed to us over the ages, that conceived all of life, all of reality, as energy, and not only the 4.9% of physical matter. In other words, at the bottom, and maybe Mike, we can see one of the pictures of the Etz Chaim of the tree of life, only at the bottom of the tree of life, right? Thank you so much. Yes, only at the bottom of the tree of life, at the crown chakra, or at the root chakra, or the Malchut Sphira, the one at the very bottom, yes, as Mike is pointing out, that's very much, yes, that's very much at the very bottom of the tree. This is the 4.9% of visible matter that we see, that we interact, that we understand, that we grasp, that we feel, that we sense, yes. But the rest of it is all the tree of life all the way up, and that doesn't only resemble, we don't think, we know that this definitely shows us the nearly 96% of all the dark energy and dark matter that is out there waiting for us. And our view of the world is only very limited from the bottom, from this Malchut Sphira, from the Sphira, right, of the kingdom that we see from here. So the Kabbalistic tree of life is a pattern that can be applied to practically all parts of life, including the physical matter, including the dark matter, including the visible energy, as well as our conscience, subconscious, and different parts of our physical and spiritual existence. So this is incredible. And again, this is not only me saying this, I didn't invent the wheel, but these are greatest Kabbalists, as well as joining forces with great leading edge and cutting edge doctors of science of today, scientists. We work together, and we know for a fact that this is the truth. This is what we prove through science that Kabbalah says, and this is what Kabbalah tells us that science is correct. Excuse me. So the practical, physical life is only at the bottom, roots, Malchut Sphira. On the other end, on the other edge of the spheres up there, where the crown chakra, where the crown sphere is, that's where we see the Ein Sof. Remember in our first lecture, we discussed the Ein Sof. Ein Sof means the infinite, eternal mind of the universe, or God. Again, Ein Sof means limitless, endless, right? There's the eternal mind of the universe, where science has found that the mind of the universe is God. This is Albert Einstein in his book, right, My Faith, yes, right up there. And that's all the latest scientists of today, cutting edge, that they have found consciousness, one being, permeating all of nature, holding it all together with four forces. All of nature is one, all of the universe is one, all the energy is one. There are no two beings, two different deities, a million deities. No, one mind holding the entire universe on the quantum level, on the quantum field level, on the energetic level, which is mind-boggling, which proves all the monotheistic kind of religions that today we don't have to call them anymore religions, because today it's science. By the way, Psalm says, it doesn't say believe in God and follow him. It says know the Lord your God and follow him. No, how am I supposed to know? I mean, it's a question of belief. It's beyond my mind. No, science says today you don't have to even believe. We know it as a fact, as a very simple fact. And anyone that tells you differently, well, he should revise or she should revise their scientific facts, because up to date with quantum physics, this is a given, proven scientific knowledge. Incredible. So at the top of the Etz Chaim, the top of the tree of life, there, the crown chakra, the crown sphere, we have the Ein Sof, the endless, limitless God, which is the source of all creation, and it joins at the top of the ladder of the tree of life and permeates all the way down the tree of life. Maybe you can see, Mike, a picture of the tree of life. That would be very nice, and leave it there for a while. And as we learned last week, and I'm going to revise it for a second and build on this, right? We see and we know definitely that there's spirit and soul. What is the difference? Thank you, Mike. So let's leave it there, right? What is the difference between the spirit and the soul? Well, let's define them. Spirit, which is right at the top, which is at the crown chakra, crown sphere, this is the eternal essence that comes from the source and is one with it. Again, spirit is the eternal essence that comes from the source and is one with it. And this crown chakra, crown sphere, is right here hovering over my head, and I can grasp this. In other words, there's a place, thank you, Mike, right over us, which I can grasp, which I can be one with, which is the eternal essence that comes from the source and is one with it. If I meditate, if I pray, then I can reach the zenith of being one with the source, one with God, one with the mind of the universe, where everything is one, where I don't feel any more separate or victimized or an individual or alone. I feel one with everything, not only with God, with everyone else as well, as we're going to clearly discuss right here in the now. Now, I did delve a little bit into alchemy, which is beyond the scope of what we're doing over here, but just to mention a little bit, alchemy and Hermetic rules. There are 7 Hermetic rules in the universe. All of them are true because they are very scientific. One of the Hermetic rules says spirit and matter, physical matter, and spiritual energy are just 2 poles of the same thing. Again, physical matter, which we see, my hand, and spiritual energy, which moves my hand, are just 2 poles of the same thing. Not anymore thinking that the physical reality that we see is one understanding, one entity, and spirituality is a separate entity for those who want to believe or for those who want to hug trees. No. Physical matter, and this has been around for thousands of years, physical matter and spiritual energy are just 2 poles of one and the same thing. And with spiritual energy vibrating at a much higher level, such that it cannot be perceived by our physical senses. In other words, I can perceive the physical reality, but I cannot perceive very much with my own human eyes the spiritual reality. But truthfully, this physical reality is just a perception, a manifestation of the lower ends of the scale of the spiritual and energetical vibrating energy. And the intermediaries between that, this is what we call the soul again. The high end of the Etz Chaim, up there, that's the spirit. And that spirit joins and touches on the essence and is one with God, one with the mind of the universe, through that crown chakra, crown sphere. All the rest of the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, are parts of the soul, which are intermediaries, which help with different kind of vibrations from our perspective to bring down that divine energy to us, and from our perspective, to elevate ourselves in the material world to back to that spiritual divine essence, which we're going to discuss today as well. This is the foundation of alchemy. Alchemy really means transmute or change your experience at will. In other words, I can watch a movie. Somebody next to me said it was a very nice movie, it was a thrill, it was a drama. Somebody next to them can say, well, it was a very emotional, moving movie, I really cried. The third person will say it was a very spiritual movie and it had a message to it. This is called alchemy. Alchemy means that you take the simple experience in the physical realm and you transmute it. You change your experience at will to be something of a higher realm, of the spiritual realm. The same experience, different understanding, different intention, different will, transmutes, changes your experience at will to something else. Now we're going to look at the simple equation of Einstein that we all know from childhood till today, E is equal to mc squared, in a different way. What he meant was that energy, very good, Mike, energy, which is E, can be transformed into matter, and matter can be transformed into energy. So we thought it's just a physical equation. E is equal to mc. What does it mean? It means energy is equal to matter, to mass, times the speed of light, right, squared, which means that we can transform physical matter into energy and energy into physical matter. This is not mysticism anymore. This is definitely science from the time that Einstein walked this earth. So when it comes to the spirit, it is energy at such a high level that we cannot detect it as yet, but we know very much that it is there. So what is the soul? The soul encompasses all the levels between the Ein Sof, that endless, eternal source of all, and this material reality. As mentioned, soul encompasses all levels between the spirit, which is the top of the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, and the physical. What is its function? What is its role? The soul mediates, bridges, communicates between spirits and the rest of the tree of life, including our physical body, including very much our physical body. So the function, the role of the soul is to bridge between that higher spirit, as we call the Holy Spirit, that's hovering above the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, that is one with God, it's one with the man of the universe, and the rest, all the different levels, and frequencies, and rhythms, thank you, Mike, of the physical tree of life, or the tree of life, from the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical, as we're going to dwell on in the next few weeks. And the soul includes all the function of the mind, our personality, our individuality, our consciousness, and our consciousness of physical experiences. Again, the soul also includes functions of our mind, our personality, our individuality, and our consciousness of our physical experiences. All this encompassed by the soul. Now, when there is that revelation, that one-time event that we were all invited to, of Mount Sinai, which is a Kabbalistic experience that never was before and after. So there is a verse that says that people saw the voices and they heard the lights and the sights. Again, people saw the voices and people heard the lights and the sights. What does it mean? So let's translate it again to the tree of life. The spirit is like a broadcaster, a radio station. So the spirit broadcasts today's menu of whatever mission of life that you came to be with. The soul is the radio transmission at different kind of frequencies through the tree of life. Again, the spirit is the broadcaster, is the radio station. The soul is the radio transmission at different frequencies through the tree of life as we go down. right? And we need all these stages as we will learn. And our bodies are the hardware, the receiver of all the transmissions and signals, depending on where the dial is set. Some people can use the energy in a very negative way, in a vengeful way, in an angry way. Some people can use it in a very pleasant, harmonious way to mediate between people, win-win. Some people can be off, some people can be passive, some people can be really proactive about life. It all depends on how you want to use that energy that is given to you through your body, which is the receiver or the hardware. So again, I want to go through this again because it's very important. The spirit is the broadcaster sitting at the top of the tree of life. And it's one with the source, with the mind of the universe, mind of God. The soul is all those levels in between, which is the radio transmission at different frequencies, different rhythms through the tree of life. Our body is the hardware, the receiver of all these transmissions and signals, depending on where we set the dial. This is up to us to set the dial straight. Every day it's a war, it's a battle again that we need to use. And just very good, Mike. Let's zoom out a minute on that. So at the top there's the divine will. Then we have the will of the universe going down those spheroids. And at the bottom there is the human experience. The bottom, right, the human collective experience and will. And at the very, very bottom is our bodies. What we think we experience is just we separate, we victimize, we are lonely, we don't see anyone else, nobody loves us. But once we start to go up using our soul's different energies, we start to feel the collective will, we start to feel a collective love. We start to feel what is the will of the universe, which we're going to find, we're going to discover it as we go down from the crown, sphere, chakra, all the way down the different kind of sephirot, till we arrive at divine will. So what is the point of all this? What is the purpose of everything in the world being built according to this tree of life? And again, this is incredible. Mike, if you can find a picture of the tree of life in 3D, and especially from the top, that will be amazing. And I'll really be thankful. So in the meantime, quite a few hundred years ago lived Paracelsus. Paracelsus was the father of pharmacology, interesting science scientist. And he said as follows: we only speak in spirituality and Kabbalah. He said, the soul, we discussed now the soul, which is or encompasses all of the tree of life. The soul unites those two contraries. What are the two contraries? The body at the bottom of the tree of life, at the root chakra, at the root sphere, and the spirit, which is at the crown sphere, and changes them into what? Beautiful. Yes, thank you. And changes them into one essence. Changes them, there you go. Yeah, let's stay there for a minute. And changes them into one essence. By the way, this picture that Mike is sharing with you now is incredible, because we thought the tree of life is two-dimensional tree of life. It looks like a double helix of the DNA. That's true. But we found in ancient writings that it was never meant to be in 2Ds. It was meant to be in 3Ds. And that reveals to us a whole new complex world of vibrations, of energy, of rhythms, of music that we weren't aware of before. And we're going to delve deeply into this, into alchemy, into Hermetic rules, into understanding how we can transform our energy to create great people that will change this world. At least, first of all, let's start with your world. So again, Paracelsus, the father of pharmacology, said as follows: the soul, which is from top to bottom, unites those two contraries. What are the two contraries that you call them? The body at the bottom, the spirit at the top, and changes them into one essence. And this is the major reason what we are here on earth for this very reason. So we call them today in quantum physics, energy, consciousness, and matter. Again, energy, consciousness, and matter. So who's who? Who's the cause? Who's the effect? Well, consciousness, believe it or not, is the cause, is the root of all. There's the consciousness of the one mind, of the universe, of the one being, of God. and with it we are made in the image of God, we also have a level of consciousness. And that gives way to energy, and that gives way to matter to come into being and to manifest. We're going to discuss this. So there is a string theory, those amongst us that know a little bit of science, so can Google it up, string theory, which says as follows: all things are just different frequencies and vibrations of the same thing. Again, all things, you, me, atoms, black holes, volcanoes, the whole universe, are just different frequencies and vibrations of the same thing. That's amazing. How can we reduce it into something we can work with? How can we transform and transmute it into something we can create something out of it? Kabbalah calls it form and force. Form, shape, and force. Or, in the Eastern traditional religions, feminine and masculine, yin and yang. Science calls it expansion and contraction. We know in the universe these white dwarfs, which means those stars which are dying off, white dwarfs, yes, and they are white. I should know with a PhD in astrophysics. And the other end of it is supernovas, where a star decides to blow up, to show to all of us before he dies that he blows up. And all of these together, right, are the two sides of the same coin: form and force, or feminine and masculine, or in scientific language, expansion and contraction. Beautiful. All these forces join up into one. Very good, Mike, which is, it all comes from the one source. And the reason we are here is to harness all these forces. The reason we are here is to harness all these forces, purify them, refine them, unify them, and perfect them. The reason we are here is to harness all these forces, purify them, refine them, unify them, and perfect them. When you have an urge, a bad urge, when you have a bad habit, a bad behavior, you have a pattern from the past, a bad memory, when people have addictions, when people have all kind of urges, Mr. Jekyll and Dr. Hyde, or the other way around, this is exactly the reason why we are here, to perfect them, to purify them, to unify them, all of this together, and to lift it up all the way from the bottom body, which is the bottom sphere, which is the Malchut, the kingdom, all the way up to become spirits again. And that's a lifetime and a masterpiece and an art of work. So we are here to master the art of transformation and raising the vibration. In the olden days, we called it alchemy. No, alchemists took copper and turned it into gold. And today we think it is, mysticism or black magic. And maybe it was, but that was truthfully done. And they were able to do it by transmuting themselves. Today we call it quantum physics, which means we are mastering the art of transformation and raising our vibration. And we're going to learn to do it through meditation, through different kind of visualization, of singing, or music, of sound, of hypnosis. We can do that in a different way today. We don't have to become those elden days alchemists, even though they did a good job, but sometimes they didn't survive that. We're going to survive everything we do. We do it in a very scientific, beautiful way. Nice, calm, and pleasant. Kabbalah reveals to us that we are here to refine our soul, the soul, and unite it with the divine source. In other words, we discussed last time that we have an animalistic part of our soul, urges that we have, and we have a divine soul. And the reason why we're here is to refine all of that. We have a high-end part of us which has inspirations for spirituality and for unconditional love and for loving kindness and for beautiful things. On the other hand, we've got all kinds of desires and edges which really pull us down, and vengeance and anger and all kinds of grudges and gossip. And our function over here, our role is to draw all this together, refine it, and united with this divine source. So simultaneously, we are also here to take that spirit, which is the top of the Etz Chaim, the tree of life, and bring it down into the physical realm, bring it down into this world, into our body. So it's a two-way elevator, two-way road, two-way streets. We should be working it. We are elevating the material to become spiritual, and we are bringing down and penetrating the spiritual to become part of our everyday. Many religions, many traditions have the custom of blessing a food. The reason for it, by the way, is to elevate the physical property of the food into something more spiritual. Imagine that I go to a gas station and I ask the guy to please fill it up. So he asked me for the keys. I said, no, I open my mouth. He says, excuse me, sir, you should go to an asylum. So this is what we do. If we just eat through our mouth and we just eat material, how do you suppose to turn it into something of the feeling, the emotional world, the mental world, so much more in the spiritual world? That to activate the spiritual part, that's the blessing. The blessing also recognizes, acknowledges the fact that I understand that there is a source. I'm connecting everything material and I'm bringing it up to the source in every single thing that I do in my life. And that's an art we're going to study as well. In other words, we raise up the material into the spiritual world and we bring back the spirit into the materialistic realm. It's creating heaven on earth. It's creating heaven on earth. And just stay with this, Mike, a minute. And therefore, we are ultimately becoming a new concept called Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon. Adam is the first man that we are all the children of. That's why in the Hebrew, there is no Adamim, there is no plural for Adam. Not in the English either. There is no Adams, right? It's only one. And we are called the sons of Adam right throughout the Bible because there's only one, because it's all one big soul that contains all the sparks of all our souls together. This is Kabbalah. And our function is to perfect that being, which is us, excuse me, into a godlike human. So ultimately we become Adam Kadmon, or the perfected godlike human. This is the function of why we're here, and therefore 120 years is much too short of a time to do all of this. That's why people go through different kind of reincarnations. And through this we understand something else. We thought that when a person dies, they die. The physical body dies and they die. Also, anything else in them dies. But this is so untrue, because once we understand that energy is eternal and we have a simple scientific rule, energy cannot be destroyed. You can only transmute it. You can only transform it. The same applies to your spirit. Your spirit is energy. Your soul is energetic. The minute that we shed off our physical body, that spirit inside you, that soul inside you, carries on to live for many reincarnations, just in a different format. Very much like if I burn a paper or a wood, it turns into different kind of energy. So the soul is eternal. The soul is eternal. This is an outcome of quantum physics, which is mind-boggling. By the way, I'm living in the state of Arizona, and he lived some 12 years ago, Professor Kubler-Ross, a famous celeb of a psychiatrist for over 40 years, and that's what she writes. After writing 12 books and interviewing 35,000 cases of clinical death, she definitely comes to the conclusion that there's life after life, that we all go through the same thing. We're going to have a special lecture in the future about it. Makes no difference what gender, what color, what age, what religion, what culture you are. We all go through the same procedures, the same journey once the soul goes out of this world and once the soul comes back into this world, as you do every day when you wake up in the morning, after nighttime and dreams. So, according to Kabbalah, we are here to elevate our soul to a higher level and refine it to unite with the one God, and at the same time bring into our earthly world the divine. It works both ways. It's a two-way road, two-way street, and we just keep on in the game and not get confused, because it's work every day. And if you ask me, what is the work? Well, don't worry. God is going to tell you already where you have to work against resistance, which ages you need to fight, and what opportunities He brings to you where you can really transcend and rise and shine. Scientists have understood and concluded that according to the great anthropic law of the universe was designed for us. There are over 20 concepts that define in a very narrow way that this world is very, very exact. If we were just a bit closer or further from the sun, we would all fry up, we would all freeze to death. If the moon was a bit bigger or smaller, the seas will just wipe us out with the tsunamis, etc., etc. So all these facts, which are scientific, when they come together, they prove all together that there's a great anthropic law which says that the universe was designed with one mind for us. We are the crown. We human beings are the crown of creation. Yes, can very well be that there are aliens out there and also the crown of their planets. I didn't negate that. But considering our planet and us as being human, we must understand that somebody, a great, huge, infinite intelligence, has created that in a very specific, limiting way, and everything was designed to be this way. Otherwise, the conditions of life are very rare. Or to be honest and truthful, if you understand a bit of maths, that should be 1 divided by 10 to the power of 40. 40 zeros. 40 zeros. If I had such a zero, and if I went to the Desert Diamond Casino with that, I will never win 1 cent in the lottery. There's infinitesimal chance that we are created by chance. That's not possible. That's scientifically proven. In other words, there's a definite infinite mind and consciousness who designed everything purposefully, and the physical reality we see today in the universe and in our bodies are the result of the universal mind who is the infinite one God. We're going to end up soon because we promised 50 minutes, even though we started a little bit later, and we appreciate that. But I'm going to say a few more words so that we don't go beyond our time. In Kabbalah teachings, we say that the force of the Big Bang, and before that actually happened, there was already latent potential for all things to come into being. This is an incredible statement of quantum physics, which meshes up and lines up exactly with Kabbalah. Everything that we see today in the universe was already in potential, then latent potential before the creation. When we look today, scientists look for the dark matter, which is nearly 96% of reality. This is what we're talking about. The raw materials, everything was already set before, with great design, with great agility, with great architectural thinking, that this will be necessary, yes, right? Exactly when it comes. And everything was in the dark. And then came the Big Bang, and God said, let there be light. It's like walking to a dark room and sensing the potential is there, but we cannot see anything. And then the mind of the Ein Sof, of the endless God, put on the lights in creation, activated the potential into being, and our awareness makes the difference. Our conscience brought into being and into awareness everything we see today. So we're going to end up there because the next will be the next section yet. But we discussed some mind-boggling concepts today which are cutting edge together with quantum physics and Kabbalah, and especially mesh these two together. And I brought some alchemy and Hermetic laws to know that we're not discussing something which is trivial or imaginary or just mysticism or elusive, but we're discussing something which is the cutting edge of the far front of quantum physics today. And what we're discussing now are the real facts of life, which every one of us is living accordingly. And all we need to do is to become aware of it and conscious of it. So there you go, Mike. If there are any questions from the public, from the crowd, from people who have sent you through the chat, or people that are right here, so please open the lines. For a few minutes, we can definitely try to answer the people's questions.
Okay, well, we did have a few questions from last week that people would like us to address, and I think it does somehow fit into today's lecture. Unfortunately, there was another issue with the Facebook room,
Right.
which is open now. There was only a couple people in there. Nobody's really asking questions. They're just agreeing and thanking you for for all your efforts. Other than that, there were some questions that were
So
brought
last
up.
2-3 questions. Let's see what we have.
Okay, so we have, and this is a very good question. It's probably something that a lot of people wonder, me myself included, because this is a question that I believe only Kabbalah can answer. And in that, I mean that it's something that you can only receive directly from the divine. So this question it's a comment. First, it says, God is so great, but where does God come from? What created God? Did God create himself?
Right. So it's a very good question. And the question, the person that asked the question, the assumption of the question is that we're asking from a human perspective. Since we are all created, and that already is a very big step forwards to understand that we are created and we didn't create ourselves, like Pharaoh used to say. So therefore, we assume it's our human limited capacity that also God has to have a beginning. But if we understand that in the Bible, the name of God, which we discussed the last few lectures, which is Havaya, which means He was, is, and will be, He created time and space. So there is no before. There is no space. There's nothing that came before because it's endless and eternal. So the question of when did God come from? Did he create himself? Also assumes time in it. But God himself created time as the universe started with the Big Bang, and that's a scientific proof. So God does not have a beginning. He doesn't have parents. Nobody created him, and he did not create himself. Because the very question is based on the assumption of time. And there is no time over here because God created time. Once a person dies and goes out of the world, this world, time stops from the perspective of the person that dies because there is no time in the upper worlds. Very much like a person goes to sleep and you wake up after 7-8 hours, that went in a jiffy, went up very, very quickly because we didn't have any consciousness, any awareness during the time. When you were baby born, God was there at your mother's birth. He was already there also when you are now at your 20s. He's going to be there at your 90s. But at the same time, he's there running 8 billion people at the same time. At the same time, he's running billions of galaxies at the same time. So understand, please, dear listener, that when you ask him this question, you're assuming that there's a time bound by God, but it isn't the case. So understand it's mind-boggling, but today it's science. So that's what quantum physics says, that if we're going to learn how to do it, reach a place which is above time and space, then you can be one with God. And that is at the crown sphere, the crown chakra, where we can reach that place of no time, no physicality, no space, and totality of being one with God. And there we can also appreciate. I asked many years back your question to one of my great spiritual mentors, and he answered as follows, said, Gil, when I'll be God, I will answer you the same. But I'm not. But we can understand today that it's simply not the case, and from God's perspective, there is no time, there is no space. He created it, and therefore the question falls through. Yes, Mike, please go ahead. Any other questions?
Okay. So, yes, there was another question. Let me just pull it up really fast. Let's see. Okay, so there was a individual who asked about curses, and they said that they were quoting from, I don't know what book it was, but I think it might have been Midrash or a Kabbalistic
Source.
source. They were saying that the cause of a curse is feeling victimized. So I think this goes into a little bit of what you were saying about talking about earlier, about this, like the Hermetic principle of cause and effect, and this correlation. So what is the Kabbalistic opinion on that, about curses and feeling like a victim? Is that
I think
the
the last
source?
word, curses end.
What was that?
I didn't hear the last word, Mike. Curses and what?
Curses and feeling like a
Oh,
victim.
and feeling like a victim. Very good. So the effect of curses has a great place also in the biblical sources, and people can use the evil eye. We have a concept of evil eye. We have the concept of gossip in the Bible. So these things do take effect. We know that we use today in white magic the concept of abracadabra. So abracadabra seems to be like a nice charm and gimmick, but it really comes from the old ancient Kabbalistic Hebrew, which means ebrakadibu, I will create with my speech. I will create with my speech. So the fact that a person can curse is true. Nevertheless, if you haven't done anything wrong to that person, if you don't take to heart what they've done, so that's not going to have a great effect on you. And when I do teach different kind of private sessions or workshops, we do learn how to protect yourself so that you're not affected by those kind of things. But people do mean many times bad or evil, and they can cause a chaos or something like this, and you do need to learn how to protect yourself in order not to be the victim of circumstances, very much more what they do in South America, which is the voodoo. But they decide to curse somebody and make a little dolly, and that person, suffers great upheaval. The second question is about, and that will be the last for today, that's question of victimization. Victimization is self-sabotaging oneself because the energy that we give out, and that's further on in lectures in Kabbalah, the energy that you give out, we are godly made. We are created in the image of God. When you decide to victimize, you send a ripple effect to the universe that everything you see in a negative way. Somebody took my money, somebody stole this from me, I didn't get married, I'm not so healthy, I'm not the smartest, I'm not the wealthiest person. And therefore, what you draw into your life in the boomerang effect is exactly that negativity. To get out of this, you have to change your mindset and you have to switch around and try to even fake it till you make it. Say, well, let's see the half full cup. This cup is half full. But I can see, well, I already drank half, I only have half. I can say, oh, it's half full and I've still got so much to go. So try to see what you have. Try to concentrate on the right things that there are. Nobody can take away from you anything unless you take it away from yourself. If you are too weak in life, if you decide to be a follower, if you decide that you are not in control of your life, you decide not to be proactive about your life, then your life will be a set of circumstances which are going to be very, very difficult and challenging for you. But if you decide to live in God's image, meaning, like God is the creator, I'm going to create my own present future. I'm going to give myself every day present, which will create my future. I will try to be very happy with what I have. I will try to see that what I have is good and not bad. I will try to learn the lessons in whatever God brought my way. Why is my life this way? And then you will see slowly circumstances changing. And even if circumstances didn't change, but at least your attitude changed for the better. You can see two brothers and sisters in the same house going through the same circumstances. One is saying life is incredible. The other one says, I live in hell on earth. The same circumstances. Why? Because sometimes it's also the way you chose to see things. And if circumstances are really bad, and I do know Many of my patients, some symptoms are really, really bad and really harsh and challenging. And then we must do something about it to reverse it and to bring back the light into your life and therefore reverse the circumstances as well. Last but not least, there's a verse about it in Psalms which says, God is like a shadow on my right hand, meaning the same way that I play with the world, that's the same way that the universe is going to reflect in my life. Smile and the world will smile at you, cry and victimize. Oh well, and you're going to really not see the nice end of life. We thank you very much all for being part of tonight and part of us, and we're looking very much forward to seeing you soon and next week. And I see, by the way, quite a few people over here that wanted to come through and be here, and that should be very, very wonderful to have them right here with us next week. God bless you all, and speak to you soon. Good night.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for joining us again for another podcast on Inner Secrets Revealed, Kabbalah class with Dr. Gil. Tonight, of course, it was Thanksgiving, so some people just weren't able to join us. I did get the Facebook classroom working. So next week, if you guys, it's going to be December 1st. So if you guys, want to join us, you could just join through the Facebook link once the video chat is started, and I will bring you guys up. If you guys have any questions or anything or comments, please feel free to leave any comments. If you guys are watching this, in the replay, please feel free to leave any comments or questions or thoughts that you guys might have. And also, if you guys are watching this during the replay, please remember to click on the link wherever it may appear to see the playlist with past episodes and previous lectures from Dr. Gil Taban, as well as some of my own previous videos from my own podclasses on mental health, spirituality, and metaphysics. So please subscribe to my channel as well, and hit the bell, give me a like button, and get notifications on when new videos are released, and learn about when new streams are going to begin. And I would like to thank everybody who participated and who watched tonight. Again, I apologize if there were any problems for people trying to get in, and I thank you all very much for joining us tonight again. God bless you all. Have a great night. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless.